Welcome to Coaches Roundtable. I'm Ed Codi, and welcome our guests from Slippery Rock University, highly successful head coach Shawn Lutz. Coach, hard to believe this is your 8th year as head coach and your 29th year at the Rock, and the last 4 years, not counting COVID. What a run you've had at the Rock, 43-10, quarterfinal appearances, semifinal last year, a first-round win over Assumption, 17-14, a tough second-round loss to Shepherd, 37-27. You set a pretty high bar and a high standard here, but I'm sure you welcome it.
Yeah, I mean, I've been blessed with a great staff, and to be honest with you, people before me, the legendary Coach Mahalik Thompson Stadium, and we just go to work every single day. I can't believe I've been there that long. Just turned 50 here in July, so I used to be the youngest guy on the staff. Now I'm the oldest guy on the staff, but each and every day I wake up, I enjoy the process, and we're excited for this upcoming season for sure.
Yeah, great run. You're 7 years, 58 and 17. Pretty great stuff. 4 PSAC championships, and looking for more. Looking at your schedule, your preseason rank, you're number 15. Your first 3 games are at home. September 2nd, Wayne State's third year you played them in a row. Then September 9th with Westchester, September 16th with Millersville. What a great start to the season. First 3 games at home.
Yeah, I take the 3 home games, and they're night, 6 o'clock. It's going to be a lot of energy. We're preseason ranked. There's definitely a target on our backs. Wayne State out of Michigan. They just hired a coach from the Denver Broncos, Tyrone Wheatley. If you guys are familiar with one of the best running backs in Michigan history, he's going to be their upcoming new head coach. So they come in our place, and it's going to be a tough task. They got a brand new staff. We don't know what to expect. And then Westchester the following week, they're always one of the top teams in the East. But I like the fact our 3 first games are at home. Home field advantage has been pretty good for us in the past, that's for sure.
And then your big arch rivals, September the 30th, you're home with number 11 IUP, and they have a big transfer quarterback. They're high on Karst Hunter. And October 21st, home with California.
Yeah, we're not shying away. IUP night game, they just added it. It's a military appreciation day. It is going to be an exciting atmosphere. I mean, our history with IUP is no different than at a larger scale with Ohio State, Michigan. We're fired up for that one. You always got to go through IUP and Cal if you're going to have an opportunity to win the West. And we just got to get that ball rolling. We got to identify a lot in our camp. We got some new transfers on the roster, things like that. We just kind of got to get to work in practice, build that mentality, that toughness, and put it together to get ready for that first game against Wayne State.
And those games at IUP are always unpredictable games. I remember the game where I thought the Rock had the game won. And then at the end of the game, might have been in overtime, Paul Fela took him down, IUP down the field to win the game, and it looked like the Rock had that locked up. But that's a great rivalry that you have with them and with Cal.
Yeah, I mean, you throw the rivalries out when you're playing those games. It's just who's going to create more turnovers, who's not going to turn over the football. Last year at their place, we pretty much beat them in all the statistics, but we threw 2 turnovers in the red zone. You can't do that against a good IUP team. But it is if anybody's locally, you want to see a great rivalry, a great game, you want to go see that game for sure.
And Coach, you mentioned last year, and I'm going to say the strength of your offense was throwing the ball. You had some injuries in the running game. Your running game wasn't up to par as to what you normally expect from it. What will look differently about the offense this year, and who's going to be your quarterback?
Yeah, the quarterback will be Braden Long. Okay, he was a backup to Noah Grover last year, broke a lot of records for us. He started in the Kutztown game, the last game of the year. We didn't win that game, but he had a really good game. He's been kind of waiting. He's kind of waiting. He's got 2 years left to play. He's a high school kid from out east. He'll be in control. And then our guy that I think has a chance to play at the next level is Kyle Sheets. He's from Conneaut High School. He's 6'3", 6'4", probably 210 pounds. For the scouts at that size, he ran a 4.53. Every NFL team has contacted us. He's a mismatch problem on the outside. We got to answer your question with the running game. We have 4 of our 5 starting returners on the offensive line. So we feel like you got to be a little bit balanced and we feel like we're going to be able to run the football pretty well this year. We're going to score a lot of points. Last year, we had top 5 defense in the country. We're excited about that. We got a lot of guys back offensively, a little bit young defensively, but we are also sprinkled in some of the transfers that will be joining us that we got to bring together in the summer camp.
When you talk offense, I always look at can you run the ball? A lot of teams can run the ball from their 30 to the other team's 30, but then you get down into the red zone where it gets a little hairy, and if you can't run the ball down there, that makes it tough for you to even throw the football because they just don't respect the run on you anymore. So how do you get that running game going into the red zone?
You said exactly right. You don't want to kick field goals in the red zone. You want to score touchdowns, and the game is changing. Before we went to the 3 yards and 3 yards smash mouth football back in the day. Then it started getting a spread offense. We're spreading people out. I call it fast break basketball, exploiting one-on-ones. With weather around here, but it's going back to ground and pound a little bit. So you got to be balanced. The best way we got to identify that. We're going to use some more tight ends in our offense. I know you like that, a little bit more tight ends in the offense. We feel like we got some good ones right there. And another thing that people don't talk about, how you could be successful in the running game, is have a quarterback that can also run. It adds an extra gap that hurts defenses. And if you got a running quarterback, that helps that out as well. And we think Braden Long can do that compared to what Noah couldn't run. Braden's a little more of a runner. So we're excited about what we can do with him. And then you got to get a big back in the red zone. And we think we got a guy coming back named Isaiah Edwards. We can get him the ball. He's a big kid out of State College. We're excited about him. But you just got to use a lot of different type of things when you get in that red zone and take advantage of all your opportunities.
You'd like to go no huddle in the red zone?
We can. Yeah, we can. We'll go no huddle at any time. You know what I mean? We'll go no huddle. We'll go quick count. We'll do all that kind of stuff. The biggest thing you want to do in red zone is try to screw them up with formations. Bunch set, stacks, different things like that. Unbalanced.
I love unbalanced.
With a tackle over on the three-man surface.
Absolutely.
Different things like that. But you got to capitalize in the red zone to have success because you got to get more touchdowns than field goals out of that.
Well, in this day and age of prolific offenses, if I said to you, Coach, this year your defense will only give up on average 20 points per game, what would you say?
I take it and run with it. I take it and run with it. Again, it's hard to stop people. The rules are catered more for the offense right now. You can't touch people. You can't do a lot of things like that. I would take it and run with it. The key to defensive football, it's really getting to be simple. That I think there's 2 things that you got to be really good at to have a successful football team, where it starts on defense, create turnovers, and win in the red zone. If you can get teams to also kick field goals in the red zone, they can score all the way that they want, all the way down the field. They can drive, but hopefully a mistake happens during that time. If they go on a 10-play drive, are they going to make a mistake? Are they going to be patient enough? Are they going to throw it deep and maybe throw an interception? But where you win and you have great defenses is red zone and creating turnovers.
Well, you look at the Georgia-Ohio State game last year. As much as Georgia likes to brag about their defense, in that game with Ohio State, it was their offense that won that game for them, 43-42.
Yeah, that's amazing. And they had one of the best defensive tackles in the game, and Georgia did. He went to the Eagles in the first round and stuff like that. But it's hard to stop people. It's hard to stop people. But what was the difference in the game that no one talks about? Special teams. Ohio State had a chance to win the game. They missed a field goal.
Yes.
So special teams, you better have a good kicking game.
The key to that, before they took a sack before that, and I thought, run the ball. You're down there. Kick the field goal, win the game. They went to throw the ball. They got a 9-10 yard sack. It really hurt them, and that field goal killed them.
Yeah, but also, too, the big play Ohio State had to win the game. I think Justin Fields took off, and not Justin Fields, whoever, the quarterback, Ohio State, who was that?
CJ.
Yeah, CJ. Thank you. CJ had a long run. So a running quarterback also helps success, and they had that.
Hey, Coach, September the 9th, you're at home at Westchester, but your son, the tight end for Duquesne, he will be at Morgantown with the Dukes to play your alma mater, West Virginia. Where's your head going to be?
I don't know, man. It's awesome. It's thanks for bringing that up. Honored that he's there. Alma mater, you got Coach Schmidt on the show, and he's a great guy. But WVU is my place. I like Neil Brown. You had him on the show.
Yes, great
And
guy.
Logan, and I don't know where I'll be. I know that night we have a 6 o'clock game. So maybe I can watch a little bit in between and see what's going on. Go Mountaineers. Hopefully Logan has a good game at Duquesne and the Slippery Rock wins that night.
Hey, Coach, always great to have you on. Have a great season. Go Rock and get up there and see some of your games.
Thanks for the support locally. Appreciate it. Come watch us play. You guys won't be disappointed. Thank you.
I'll be right back with Ellen George. Good.
Armstrong has a long history of fighting food insecurity in our communities through Breaking Bread events. Here's how you can help. We're celebrating our 6th annual Avenge Hunger Month. Join us in supporting local food banks and soup kitchens by dropping off these most requested items to your local Armstrong office between August 28th and October 1st. Together, we can knock out hunger. Visit armstrongonewire.com/breakingbread to find a list of community feeding programs in your area.
I am back, joined to my right by the Swami, George Abraham. To my left, the Tiger, Albert Campman. Shawn Lutz, headed into his 8th year at the Rock. 43-10 the last 4 years. Quarterfinals, semifinal appearances. In his 8 years, they won 4 PSAC championships. Built a great program as they open up this week with Wayne State. First 3 games at home.
Nice. He's a tremendous recruiter.
Yes.
Lands players from everywhere, and that's the bottom line in that conference because you have to play with IUP and Cal, and if you don't get players, you get beat quickly. Great recruiter.
Yeah, and Shepherd's quarterback, the Bears just gave a guy $4 million a few months ago. The kid from Shepherd beat him out as a backup.
And we talk about the Rock.
Football.
We've talked about assistant coaches who've gone to Phil Longo, became the offensive coordinator in North Carolina, and now he's at Wisconsin. Al Washington, who got to start coaching at the Rock, is now the defensive line coach at Notre Dame. So that tells you part of the success of their program, the great assistant coaches that have come along the way there.
Yeah, that Division II football has great coaches, and all it needs is a chance, and it's proven right there.
You said it, like the couple of those guys. Well, that's where the Notre Dame coach who went to LSU, Kelly, he got his start D2.
Yes, he did.
And there was, the other day there was a guy on there, and I thought, I forgot he started D2. Those guys worked their way up.
Yeah, and the Rock beat Brian Kelly and his team.
Yeah, he did.
Hey, let's go to Spotlight. Butler senior Drew Griffith, who last year won the WPIL and PIAA cross-country titles and also 2 WPL track titles, has committed to University of Notre Dame. He also had offers from Stanford, Duke, Wake Forest, among many others. He couldn't go wrong there with any of those choices.
Well, this show's about academics, and when you hear the schools that offered him, that means he's doing a job there.
And how about Slippery Rock High School senior outfielder Sal Minio, who hit .423 last year? He has committed to Ohio State.
Wow.
Yeah. Pretty good stuff. They watched him play. They were very impressed with his play. He hit .423. That's pretty good stuff. And we're just blessed in this area with so many great athletes down through the years.
I see that family every weekend because the youngest plays on my grandson's traveling team.
Okay.
And the oldest is in the Minnesota Twins. He's in the
how's that?
So that's a three-tiered guys. How about that?
Absolutely.
High school football week 0. It's here. Our top rushers, Jack Fennell of North Catholic, 171 yards and 2 touchdowns, a 49-42 win over Sarah. Elijah Palmer McCain of Elwood City, 161 and a 27-26 win over Brentwood. Good start for the Wolverines.
A lot of celebrating in Wolverine land. And anytime they can start like that. Now they play Union this week. I watch Union. Union's really good. Be interested to see what happens.
Here's one of the top running backs. He made a spotlight a number of times last year. Evan Wright of Mars, 125 yards and 2 TDs. And Eli Anderson of Slippery Rock High School, 101 yards rushing. The top passers, how about this kid? Hope to see him later in the season. Codi Mullen of Knock, 395 yards and 4 touchdowns in a 45-38 win over Hampton. Remember when quarterbacks used to throw for that for the year?
Yes. Yeah, the truth.
200 was a big game.
200 was huge. Luke Goodworth of Mars, 243 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a 37-28 loss to Montour. Eli Anderson of Slippery Rock High School, 212 yards and 2 touchdowns. That gives him 313 total yards in that 27-17 loss to General McLean. Jason Skillett of North Catholic threw for 157. Jack Shaughnessy of Hampton threw for 154 and 2 TDs. And Porter Kelly of Hampton threw for 105 yards. You have 2 quarterbacks there going over 100 yards for Hampton. Our top receivers, how about this kid? Caden Spencer of Knock. He caught 9 for 258 yards and 2 touchdowns. Gabe Hine of Mars, 8 for 147 and a TD. Jackson Bauman of Knock, 4 for 105 yards and a TD. How often do you see 2 receivers in a high school team in our area go over 100 yards receiving?
Well, we've seen it in the last couple of years more and more because there's
Yeah,
no huddle,
for 3 and out.
and they're
Yes.
they're firing that ball over the field.
Yeah.
You want to be a receiver in that kind of offense. That's what you want to be.
Brock Borga of Hampton, 8 for 92 yards and a touchdown. And Landon Lacey of Butler, 3 for 66 yards. And this Friday night, speaking of football, here on Armstrong, we will bring you live the Meadville at Butler football game. Meadville 1-0, 27-14 win over Corey. They were tremendous last year, 12-2. They were the District 10 Region 4 champs. Butler got off to a rough start at Shaler, losing 38-7, but look for them to rebound. In boxing, Lucas Adams of Butler defeated Alejandro Fugan of California to win the American Boxing Federation light heavyweight title. It's his 2nd title. Let's go to our stories of the week. College football preseason top 10. This is your last year for many rivalries and geographical boundaries. After this, they're all going to disappear. Here we go. You guys chirp in whenever you feel like it. I have at the top Georgia, followed by, you may be surprised, I have Penn State number 2, followed by Michigan, Southern Cal, Ohio State, Alabama, LSU, Clemson, Florida State, Notre Dame, and next up Texas, Tennessee, Utah, Washington, and Oregon, and I have Pitt in there at number 22. So here's the history of the AP poll, guys. Since 1936, no team has won 3 straight titles. The number 1 preseason, Georgia, looks to break that. They look for their 3rd straight. The previous 3 straight, Minnesota. 34, 35, and 36 under Bernie Bierman.
I thought that was Bill Bourne.
Yeah, he was there.
Okay.
Yeah, he was there. And only 7 college teams have won back-to-back titles. Minnesota, Army, Notre Dame, Nebraska, Oklahoma, Alabama, and Georgia. And the greatest runs in the history of college football, Alabama 6 titles in 12 years. Notre Dame 4 titles in 7 years. Nebraska 3 in 4 years. Oklahoma 3 and 7. And Alabama once again in 3 and 5, all during different decades. So does Georgia do it this year, a 3rd straight?
I'll say no. I'll predict that they don't do it this year. I think it's that they don't realize how good Stetson Bennett was.
It's not the schedule. How about it?
Yeah, no, the schedule's easy. They'll be
Other
there.
than that, Tennessee.
They'll be there.
Oh.
But I think somebody's going to get them. I really like LSU this year.
Mhm.
I really like their team a lot.
I like Penn State. Everything I'm reading
Like
about
here,
it,
you put them number 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then what you're saying is they're going to beat Ohio State at Ohio State, basically.
and they,
That'd be Michigan
It'd
at
be
home.
the first team. I think, in my memory, that they would have beaten Ohio State and Michigan in the same year.
And
Long
out
time.
there is even less likely.
Yes.
They've caught them a couple times at State College on some block punts and things, but to beat them in Columbus, that's a tall order.
They have recruited that way, though, Eddie.
Yeah, they're
Yes.
If you're just talking about putting great players on the field,
Mm-hmm.
Penn State's putting great players on the field.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get to them in a second. Besides Slippery Rock at home this week against Wayne State, you're going to have Wofford Terriers 3-8 FCS. They're at Pitt, coached by former Pitt offensive coordinator Shawn Watson. And I did a little impromptu survey, asked people, where is Wofford? So I had some told me they're in Texas, maybe confused with Waco. Now, this one wasn't too bad. Someone said, that's a suburb of Boston. It sounds like a Massachusetts town, right?
Yeah.
But you know where the Terriers are from?
I know in Carolina, somewhere down there.
They are from Spartansburg, South Carolina.
Yeah.
My buddy went to see the basketball. Ooh, nice.
They've had some good football teams, too.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Oh, no, they have good football
Okay.
teams, too.
And
yes.
FCS, everybody
Yes.
turns their nose up. But if they're
No,
good,
no.
I just watched Jacksonville the other day beat UTEP, moving from FCS to FBS.
Narduzzi 62-41 in his
Okay.
8 years, and Pitt now last year finished second for the second straight year. Finished in the top 25 for the second straight year, and 20 wins the last 2 seasons. They haven't done that in 40 years with either one of those categories. Another big year. I'm expecting them to be good with Narduzzi and nice. I was at the Pitt kickoff luncheon. There's Phil Jakovic, Pine Richland quarterback, and his center will be Jake Cradle of Butler. Pretty
Two local
nice
kids,
deal.
huh?
Yes.
Yeah,
Well,
Cradle
I-
switched positions.
Oh, is
He was
he?
guard last year.
Yeah.
Tackle.
No, they're moving to center.
Oh, he's going to center.
They're moving to center.
How about that?
He's been a starter guard for 3 years. He's going to now start.
He's been there now
center.
11 years, hasn't he?
He has 38 career starts. It's second on a list between another offensive tackle. We
Nice.
have 50, but 12 starts this year put him at 50 also.
I think that the Pitt has done sensational. I remember sitting on this thing and I said they win 7 games. I'm happy.
Yeah.
And I said it. They've outdone my expectations.
Yeah, won 11 and 21 when they won the ACC, 9 and 4
Yeah.
last year. That big bowl win, comeback win over
You
UCLA.
see how well
and-
DTR's doing for the Browns.
Yes, and MG Devonshire, David Green on defense. They anchor that
Absolutely.
defense. I talked to Tom Lemming. He is very much impressed about how Narduzzi recruits.
You know, I'm more impressed how they develop. I really am.
Yeah.
I mean, they usually get 3.5 stars. They don't usually get all the 5 stars.
No, absolutely.
But they
This guy-
develop them.
We're talking the other day. A guy was saying about all the players in the area going to Penn. Yeah, but the best one's Bell Vernon. He's going to Penn State.
Right.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's the key.
Martin.
I give Narduzzi all the credit in the world for taking these guys and making them into players.
Yeah, one thing about him, you better be a physical player to play there. Or you're not going to play.
He's
Right.
a Youngstown guy.
Hey, West Virginia, Penn State by 20.5. Neil Brown can 7 wins save his job. He's 22 and 25 the last 4 years. Well, 7 wins.
I
save
sure
him?
hope so. 'Cause
I
he's
do.
a really
good
good
guy.
coach. But he's a good coach also. Somebody will bring him in right away. It's just tough being West Virginia playing these Texas
Hey,
Bulls.
could you give 3 tutties in an opening game like that? I couldn't. They may beat them 50 to something, but I'll have to watch
He
it.
has a dual threat quarterback in Garrett Green and that big running back, 240-pounder C.J. Donaldson.
Linebacker.
They had no trouble scoring last year. They couldn't stop anyone last year.
Sounds like college football to
But
me.
that's the profile of the Big 12,
Yes,
you know?
they're picked to finish 14th
I saw
in the
that.
Big
I
12.
saw that.
Hey, James Franklin, Penn State, his 9th-year guys, done a hell of a job, 78 and 36. Loaded at running back with 2 of the best in the country, Nick Singleton and Katron Ellen. Big offensive line, and everyone raving about quarterback Drew Alar. And that defense is solid from front line all the way back to
3
secondary.
levels, yeah.
That's why I like them.
There's a lot to like.
Yeah.
Can they get it done on the field though? They've always recruited tremendously. I said that, and I worry about the quarterback position. They're bragging about, but he cannot run, and I don't like quarterbacks in college football that are not runners.
And Franklin's had his success with guys that can move. That's the other
Sorely.
thing.
Yeah. huh?
When you say Penn State, what was the record? 11 and 2. Those 2 losses, Ohio State, Michigan.
Yeah.
And
That's the
who he has,
hump.
and that's who he has
That's
to be.
the hump.
Yeah, he has to.
And they
beat
got
them.
pounded by Michigan.
Yes, they did.
Pounded.
And Michigan's going to be very good again.
Oh, jeez.
Hey, great game coming up Labor Day weekend. Number 7 LSU and number 9 Florida State at Orlando. LSU by 2.5.
I've already said how much I like LSU, but right behind them is how much I like Florida State. How about they're playing each other very first game?
That QB is good.
yeah,
huh?
2 very good teams.
Hey, both quarterbacks.
Yeah, both quarterbacks good.
And,
yes.
and this day and age, you get ready when you say they're playing one another. Going to next year, 2024, we can have 12 teams involved in the playoffs.
Yeah.
12 teams.
You could schedule a little tougher
You,
if
you
you chose.
not be afraid of getting
Absolutely.
burned.
You have 2 losses, in other words.
Steelers 3-0 preseason, 3 down, 17 to go. Move over, Miami Dolphins. The Steelers 24, Atlanta nothing. Atlanta played no starters in that game. 3 preseason wins, and it all looked too easy.
Well, it's not. And I tell George all the time. George knows the ultimate joke of sports is exhibition football in NFL.
Yeah.
No one cares. They have one thought.
Don't
No
get
one
hurt.
get hurt. That's all I thought they think.
You know what a magician does.
Yeah.
He creates an illusion.
Yes.
So a lot of these games are an illusion.
They have done that to make you pay for that terrible brand of football that is JV at best. That you get no starters out there and you pay full price? Come on.
I'm going to predict within 2-3 years, it'll be a 20-game season.
I don't see why they wouldn't.
See,
Yeah.
Yeah. What
they
they're
pay
doing,
him.
yeah.
If they pay him.
Yeah, they're using those weekday get-togethers as their scrimmages.
Yes, they
they're
are,
putting a
George.
red vest on the quarterback. Does two things: gives you new meat, but your quarterback doesn't get hit. So why play him Saturday night when they can take a shot at him?
You know how much a ticket was for the Atlanta game if you wanted to go? $5.
Oh yeah, no,
$5.
that's supply and demand. Though, try to get that ticket as part of the package.
Right. The roster has to be down to 53 this week. I don't
Today.
think there'll be any surprises that I'm seeing. September 10th, the opener with San Francisco minus all-pro defensive lineman Nick Bosa. The 49ers still favored by 2.5. I think he's going to be in camp pretty soon.
I
don't
know
you?
he'll be in camp.
Right.
Well, he might not be in camp, but he'll be on the field on the first game.
Okay, let's go. More about the Steelers next week. Major League Baseball. The Pirates got a complete game from Oviedo. They beat Kansas City. They're 59-73. Now I read an article that said the Pirates hope to avoid another second half collapse. Now wait a minute. They started 20-8, so that means they're what? 39-65 since then. 18-34 since the All-Star break. What do you call that?
Well, I just don't like what they're doing with in and out with players, and they
Different
can't
places,
settle
yeah.
on a lineup. I want to settle on
Every day.
I want to know somebody who's going to be there every day. I will say that Hayes has surprised me. He's come back strong.
It's about time.
Yeah, but
Hey,
still, I'd almost given up on him.
Right.
I admit it.
As a
You know,
hitter.
that kid
Yes.
that came in for him, I don't know if he stoked him a little bit, but he's playing much better.
Well, then
since-
you bring him up, Triolo. Why'd they
Yeah.
send him down?
I-
One homer,
I
16
don't
RBIs,
know.
batting 276.
That's one of the ones I'm talking about. I don't understand what
I don't understand it.
And, you know, this is why we talk about balls continually fall in between guys and such, because it's never the same guys.
Hey, bright spot there. Mitch Keller came back with
Oh,
a
yeah.
2-1 win. He needed that. He's 11-8, got his ERA down to 4.01, where at one time he was around 2.50. Setback for O'Neal Cruz. They shut him down.
That was
His
smart.
ankle
Yeah,
sore.
that-
Now bring this in the Cardinal game. The Cardinals had a guy on first, 2 outs. A batter hit a ball down the right field line. The right fielder made a great play, prevented him from hitting a double, and the announcers are praising the next pitch. He's still second base. That means throw the ball down.
That's
So
the
what
way
was
they
the
do it.
point of the great
That's today's
defensive
game.
play?
Today's game has changed. It's not the same
It's like the
baseball.
Little League. They don't throw it down, they just concede down.
Hey, by the way, I want to mention this. The Pirates Hall of Fame, taking in the late Bob Friend, 22-game winner in his career, 191 wins, along with Dick Grote, the 1960 MVP batting champ with 325. Kent DeCalvey, 1979 World Series star, National League record of 1,436 innings pitched in relief, and 95-year-old Elroy Face, 18-1, 1959, 96 wins in relief, the most ever by a National League reliever. And in the World Series 1960, he saved 4 of those Pirate games. 3 of them, excuse me,
Three,
they're 4
right,
wins. So
The wins interest
tremendous.
me because today they will not bring a reliever in to win a game.
No, you can't.
He used to pitch
He's
3
only-
innings in
he's-
relief.
He's only allowed to save a game. He's not allowed to win a game.
And
So
often
it's-
pitch 4. That's it for us. We're running out of time. We'll see you next week. Lots to talk about with the Steelers.
Did you know that you could get fast, reliable Zoom internet for as little as $4.95 per month with ACP? Armstrong is participating in the FCC's Affordable Connectivity Program, which helps eligible households receive a credit of up to $30 per month on their internet bill. This program will also increase and improve broadband infrastructure throughout the U.S., especially in rural areas. There's no need to call. Visit ArmstrongOneWire.com/ACP or scan the QR code on your screen for more information and to apply.